Do you think that children in orphanages have no parents? Well, stay tuned because I'm about to unpack that misconception. When you hear the term orphan, it is natural to assume that this child has no parents. However, the reality is a bit more complex. In fact, approximately 80% of all children growing up in an orphanage globally have at least one living parent. Now you might wonder, if these children have at least one living parent, then why are they living in an orphanage? And that's a good thought. Poverty, disabilities, and discrimination are often the main reason that these children end up in institutional care like orphanages. I talk more about that in my other videos. In this video, I will talk about the term orphan and why children can still be called orphans even when they have one living parent. It all depends on which definition you use. And definitions can vary across countries, cultures, and within legal frameworks. Let's have a closer look. Like I said, most people still think that orphans are children without parents. This, for instance, is also described in Van Dalen. It's a famous Dutch dictionary. And why am I using this one? Because I am Dutch. And Van Dalen defines an orphan as a child who has lost both parents. And the same goes for the Cambridge and the Oxford English Dictionary. Also, Dutch law sees an orphan as a child whose parents have died. But the Tanzanian children's law, they define an orphan as a child who has not only lost both parents, but can also be a child who has lost one parent. The same goes for UNICEF. They also define an orphan as a child who has lost one or both parents to any cause of death. They didn't always use this broader definition. They adopted it in the mid-90s when the AIDS pandemic was at its peak, causing millions of parents to die, leaving an increasing number of children to grow up without one or both parents. And by using this broader definition, they wanted to emphasize this growing crisis. Let's also have a closer look at the term orphan from a biblical perspective. The Bible talks about orphans, but also refers to them as the fatherless, so children who lost their father. And the word fatherless is often used in combination with the word widow, as for instance in Deuteronomy 10 verse 18. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow. These are only a few examples to demonstrate how the definition of the term orphan can vary. So when you hear the term orphan, it's crucial to remember that that is not always a child without parents. That is why we prefer to say that 80% of the children living in an orphanage have at least one living parent, instead of saying that they are not orphans when they have parents, because now we have seen that the term orphan can vary and can cause confusion. One thing remains the same. Over 80 years of research has shown the negative effects of institutional care on children's growth and development. Children thrive better in safe and loving families. Because of this, a lot of orphanages are now changing their model to a family-based care approach and are reintegrating children back into families. Unfortunately, some still advocate for institutional care. We still have a long way to go. But because the term orphanage has acquired more and more of a negative reputation, many orphanages are now changing their names into children's homes, rescue centers, shelters, or even boarding schools. But what's in a name? One thing remains the same. These institutions deprive children from growing up with families. So let's redirect our focus, time, money, and energy away from institutional care towards a family-based care approach, so all children can grow up where children belong, in safe and loving families. I hope this video provided some valuable insights. If so, please consider to like, subscribe, and share this video to raise more awareness. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much more.